The courtroom was massive. Its walls glowed faintly with soft blue energy, and millions of seats spiraled upwards into darkness. Holograms floated in mid-air, translating languages faster than a human mind could follow. It was the Grand Galactic Court, a place where disputes from across star systems were settled. Humans rarely made it here. Even rarer were humans who mattered. Yet today, a human woman stood at the center of attention. Her name was Lyra Kale, and she had done nothing wrong, at least, not in the eyes of her people. But to the alien council of Zorath, she had committed a grievous offense. Her offense, marrying an alien without proper documentation. The alien before her, a towering Zelari named Vorthok, sneered. His 4 eyes gleamed with amusement, his multiple mandibles twitching. "You humans are hopeless," he said in a voice that vibrated across the courtroom. "No lawyer, no preparation, no chance. Do you even understand the gravity of your situation?" Lyra's hands trembled. She had expected this. Vorthok was influential, a high-ranking noble in the Zelari system. He had wealth, power, and the kind of reputation that could crush a human like a bug. But she had expected this, not the laughter. "Your Honor," Vorthok continued, turning to the court. "She stands here alone. No counsel, no defense. I could file all accusations and evidence against her, and she would not understand a fraction of it. This court is not a place for weak, unprepared creatures." Lyra's heart sank. Her voice, when it came, was barely above a whisper. I didn't know I needed a lawyer," the council murmured. Some leaned forward, curious. Others were clearly entertained. Then came the moment that would change everything. From the back of the courtroom, a figure appeared, broad-shouldered, tall, human, older than Lyra, but still commanding. His grey-streaked hair framed a face lined with experience and quiet authority. Every step he took seemed to reverberate across the courtroom floor. "Her father, Kale," he said, his voice calm but heavy. "I am here." The court fell silent. All eyes turned toward the human man. The murmuring ceased. The Zelari, who had been laughing moments ago, froze mid-motion. Vorthok's 4 eyes narrowed. "This human dares?" Her father raised a hand. "I am not just any human," he said. "I am a human with knowledge of galactic law, an experience that surpasses most of you here. I will represent my daughter." Vorthok's laugh died. The council exchanged glances. Human lawyers were rare. Human strategists even rarer. Humans themselves were considered unpredictable, chaotic, sometimes brilliant, often reckless. But to face one in a courtroom was almost unheard of. The chief counselor, a massive creature with translucent skin and shifting colors, spoke. "Explain, human. You claim to represent your daughter. On what grounds?" Her father's gaze swept the courtroom. His tone was calm, measured. "On the grounds that your so-called rules are arbitrary and biased, that your evidence has been selectively chosen, and that my daughter, a human woman, has rights even in a court that barely recognizes her species." Vorthok hissed. "Rights." She defied the established protocols. She married without permission. This is not a mere formality. It is an offense. Her father's eyes glinted. "An offense according to whose law? Yours. You speak of protocol, yet ignore context. My daughter did not intend harm. She acted in good faith. If you seek justice, you will find that your statutes are incomplete, inconsistent, and frankly contradictory." The council gasped. One of the younger alien members muttered something in their native tongue. Lyra could feel the tension ripple through the courtroom. Her father was not merely arguing. He was dismantling Vorthok's position piece by piece systematically. With logic and precision, he walked closer to the center of the chamber. Let us examine the facts. Lyra Kale was approached by Vorthok, who made promises and assurances. She acted under those assurances. Yet, when convenient, he accuses her of negligence. This court is meant to adjudicate fairness, not feed the egos of the powerful. Vorthok's mandibles twitched. His pride stung. He was used to bending the court to his will. Rarely had he met a human who could cut through formalities with such ease. Her father continued, I have reviewed every procedural document, every interstellar marriage law applicable in this jurisdiction. Your charges are weak, contradictory, unsupported, yet you assumed my daughter would crumble before you. You underestimated humans. That was your mistake. The council was visibly impressed. Even the chief counselor leaned forward, observing closely. Vorthok hissed. You are arrogant. A human cannot comprehend the complexities of intergalactic law. Her father smiled faintly. Perhaps. But humans have something else. Adaptability, ingenuity, the ability to see patterns and inconsistencies that creatures of rigid thinking cannot. That is why I am here, and why my daughter will not be intimidated. For hours, the courtroom became a battlefield of words. Vorthok produced evidence, documents, contracts, all meticulously detailed. But her father countered every point. He highlighted contradictions in translation, procedural oversights, and even the subtle bias in the council's own enforcement methods. Lyra watched, awestruck. The man she had always thought of as a quiet, bookish father was now an unstoppable force. Finally, Vorthok made his last move. He summoned witnesses, alien bureaucrats, scholars, and aides who could testify that Lyra had knowingly violated protocol. Her father stood, calm as ever. I have reviewed your witnesses. All provide statements that are either irrelevant, misleading, or false when properly contextualized. I call for their testimonies to be evaluated in accordance with impartial standards. You present theatrics as evidence. That is not law. The courtroom erupted in whispers. Holographic screens displayed every document and testimony as her father dissected it. Lines were highlighted, contradictions circled, logical fallacies pointed out. Minutes turned into hours. The council listened, riveted. They had never seen such a human before. One by one, alien members began nodding, murmuring their agreement. Then her father delivered the final blow. He addressed the court directly. Vorthok, you sought to humiliate my daughter. You counted on fear and her lack of representation to secure a victory. But this is not how justice works. You are powerful, yes, but power is not law. Justice is gestured toward Lyra. She is not guilty. The charges are dismissed. And let this serve as a precedent. Underestimating humans in matters of law, negotiation, and reasoning is folly. The chief counselor banged a clawed hand on the central podium. Silence fell. Then, slowly, the counselors began issuing the formal decree. Lyra Kale was cleared of all charges. Vorthok's accusations were invalid. Human rights, even in minor forms, were acknowledged and respected. Vorthok was speechless. His pride had been shattered in front of millions of beings, broadcast live across galactic networks. His laughter so full of arrogance at the start, was gone. Lyra ran to her father, hugging him tightly. I didn't think anyone could help me," she whispered. Her father smiled. "No one else could. But humans. We never give up. We find a way." The courtroom erupted in applause, not just from Lyra and her supporters, but from aliens who recognized brilliance when they saw it. Reports later called it the human moment that shook the Galactic Court. Lyra realized something important that day. Humans were often underestimated, laughed at, dismissed. But when they were needed most, they could rise beyond expectation. Logic, courage, and a relentless will were their weapons. And sometimes, all it took was one human and one father to change the course of galactic history. Vorthok never laughed again. Not publicly. He would remember the day a human outmaneuvered him before the entire galaxy, and how even the mightiest alien could be humbled by wit, resolve, and human determination. Lyra stood by the exit, hand in her father's, looking at the galaxy through the court's massive viewing dome. She smiled. Humans. We really can surprise them, can't we? Her father nodded. Always. And they will never forget it. The stars twinkled as if in agreement. The human story had been written in the stars. Asterisk.